the head of the House Intel Committee, lead impeachment manager at the Trump first impeachment trial. Congressman Adam Schiff, good to see you, sir.
Good to see you.
So two things that I want your take on from today when this was called domestic terror. What does it mean to you in terms of this collective denial of seeing January 6th for what it was on the right? What motivates it?
Well, look, it's a continuation of the big lie that led to the insurrection. You had, obviously, the president, the former president, out pushing this lie about the election, and it was rigged and it was stolen, and he actually won a landslide. That contributed, and a lot of the members in Congress contributed to that lie, and that led us to January 6th. Now there's a new big lie. And the new big lie is that, no, it wasn't really Trump supporters that stormed the Capitol. It was Antifa masquerading. That was a false flag operation. And, you know, Republican members that are willing to do that, willing to feed that kind of nonsense, that kind of conspiracy theory, continue to do a disservice to the country. And it's dangerous because there are lots of people that believe that. And so I was glad to see Director Wray today so forcefully shoot that theory down. Will that be enough to make it go away? Probably not.
Not by what happened after it. Let's play that for the audience, Chairman, because we were referring to Senator Grassley's opening statement and what he decided to try to cast as the potential reality of what January 6th was about. Here, listen.
It's been a relatively frequent sight at summer's violence events to see individuals acting in coordination, holding the A symbol for Antifa. In light of these ever-present left-wing threats, I'm concerned about resource shifting talk among our colleagues across the aisle.
See, that's the real concern. To me, the politics are obvious and odious, and the people can decide. Everything's obvious to me. Here's what's not obvious. How do you stop the growth of right-wing extremism and domestic terrorism if you have this pushback from the right that we don't want to shift any resources from those bad guys on the left, as if we were talking about Democrats and Republicans and you know, not neo-Nazis and nationalists? Are you worried that we may not be able to fight back against these people the way we should?
I am worried about it. In fact, we're investigating that issue in the committee right now. That is, in the weeks, months, years leading up to January 6th, was there such a fear among intelligence professionals at the Department of Homeland Security or in terms of resource allocation within the Bureau that they couldn't go after domestic terrorists of the white nationalist variety? Because that was discouraged, because that was viewed as an attack on Trump supporters. We did see, and you'll remember very well, Chris, Bill Barr out there hyping Antifa as the threat the country needed to worry about, when the threat that was metastasizing was the threat of white nationalist domestic terror. And so we didn't have the resources potentially that we should have because of that political pressure. Comments like you just quoted contribute to that resistance to putting the resources where they need to go, to being clear about the threat that we face, not being equivocal about it. If you can't diagnose the threat, if you can't speak directly to the threat, you can't respond to the threat.
Now, obviously, you're always invited, always have a platform on this show to discuss this. There is something that's a little ahead of where we are in the argument right now, but we may not be having the argument had you gotten this passed back in 2019. House Resolution 4192. After we get through the fog of them trying to create fiction about what happened on January 6th, your party wasn't crazy about some of your solutions to this that makes these things criminal under our laws, so you don't have to fit domestic terrorists under other laws. I think it's time to reapproach that. It's going to be hard with people on the right. Tough sell on the left also. You are welcome back on the show once this part calms down to make the case for what you think will keep us more safe, Chairman.
Well, Chris, I appreciate that. And of course, we now have the backdrop of the Trump administration where they would abuse any authority they had. So we would need to make sure that there are very strong civil liberties and privacy protections in anything we do. But I think you underscore, as indeed I was trying to with that bill a couple of years ago, the fact that, as you quoted these Republican members, they obviously don't equate the threat from international terror with the threat from domestic terror. Domestic terror, particularly of a white nationalist variety, they want to treat differently. And I think we need to give the same priority, although not use the same tools, but give the same priority to domestic terrorism. Take it just as seriously as we do any other threat to the country. And that, I think, is what we need to do, whether we use a legislative approach or we use just an executive approach.
Well, when it comes back up, you have a place to argue the case right here. Congressman Adam Schiff, be well.